Francis Bouchier was the creator of the beautiful Venus on the Waves. He was born September 29, 1703 in Paris, France. He later died May 30th, 1770 in Paris as well. Bouchier was the son of a lace designer, Nicolas Bouchier. Francis was a painter, engraver, and a designer. He was the most celebrated decorative artist of the 18th century, and his paintings consisted of the perfect expression of French taste in Rococo period. What was the French taste during the Rococo period, you ask? In 1715, the French greeted their new king for the first time in 72 years. His name was Louis XV. Louis XV succeeded his grandfather, Louis XIV. Because of their new king's taste and style, the members of the court began to decorate in a lighter, more delicate way. This is how the style Rococo came about. Rococo is originally from the French word roquet. This word literally means from a rock or shell garden ornamentation. What exactly does the Rococo style emphasize? This new Rococo style majorly emphasized pastel colors, women being naked and showing every inch of their many curves, patterns of flowers, vines, shells, mythological scenes, views of daily life taking place, and all things portraits. Where all did this painting go before it was stolen by the Nazis? Venus on the Waves is a prime example as to why art is so important. Each and every person that has had this piece of art in their presence is a glimpse of why the monuments men fought as hard as they did. Just as this one painting has jumped from home to home, it is a perfect example of cultural ethos. It shows a time in history and what type of style took place during that time period. A style that meant everything to everyone around them. This painting represents a part of history that has got us to where we are today. Venus on the Waves was taken by Hitler because she was the perfect example of innocence, sexuality, and motherhood. Bouchier died May 30th, 1770, and his Venus on the Waves painting was then inherited by his daughter. Later, she was sold and legally inherited by 7 different people. In 1940, Hitler ordered the Nazis to steal this much-wanted piece of art because she portrayed everything he wanted in a painting. Soon after Venus was stolen, she was then regathered and saved by the renowned monuments men. After her lovely return, she was then given to Edmund Charles. Where does this beautiful gem subside today? At the J. Paul Getty Museum in Los Angeles, California, where she is put on display for everyone who enters to see. Now that we know some background and that this beautiful painting is safe, let's get into the real reasons for why she was wanted by all. Who exactly is this mythological woman in Venus on the Waves? Her name is Aphrodite, or she is better known as the goddess of love. There was a lot of controversy over whom she was born from and where exactly she came from. Her beauty was so breathtaking it would start wars between the other gods. The innocently depicted woman in this portrait could have been born from the foam in the water of Paphos on the island of Cyprus. She then would have rose from the water when Titan Cronus slew his father Uranus and threw his genitals into the sea. However, Aphrodite was also known as the daughter of Zeus and Dione. Dione was the earth goddess and Zeus was the goddess of sky and the ruler of the Olympian gods. How is Aphrodite depicted? She is naked in this portrait, yet she still looks of the utmost innocence. She is a perfect sign of motherhood and sexuality all in one package. Not only is she depicted as the most beautiful woman of them all, but she gives off a sense of temptation for one to even look at her, let alone for them to have her. A sense of wanting pure passion is seen on her face, and she is surrounded among naked children and doves. As she is looking for sexual desires, or does she just want to tease someone? There is a drapery along the side of her to show that she is of the sea and has great power. What type of color palette was chosen for this portrait? She is painted in pale pastels and mostly light blues and pale pinks. There is a light peach tone added to uplift highlights and lowlights of this genuine piece of art. She is the perfect depiction that relates back to the Rococo style with her rapid brushstrokes to add different amounts of texture. Did Hitler really like this portrait of Aphrodite in Venus on the Waves? Yes, indeed. It was one of his most favorite pieces of artwork because of multiple reasons. Hitler liked when women were submissive during this time, and she looked as if she was wanting to be pursued by a strong German man. Venus on the Waves is beyond beautiful and is an example of innocence and sexuality all at the same time. Not only does she portray the ideal sexual woman, but she is realistic and all natural. Surprisingly, Venus on the Waves was not painted or even designed by a German. This is one of the most shocking questions as to why Hitler wanted this piece of art looted. Because of her being created by Francis Bouchier, she did not make it into the Führer Museum. She is now set on display and admired by all who enter the J. Paul Getty Museum. How does Venus on the Waves carry a cultural ethos, and why should we care about it? To truly understand this question, we first need to break it down. Culture means of or relating to the ideas, customs, and social behaviors of a society. Ethos means an appeal to ethics, and it is a means of convincing someone of the character or credibility of the persuader. So what exactly do these two terms mean whenever they are put together? Cultural ethos means a term with Greek origins, and it refers to the morals, values, and beliefs of a person or even an entire culture. With that being said, how does this relate to artwork? Simple. Art is produced for a reason, and no matter where art is made, it will always have a cultural ethos. Any artwork that is created within a certain time period will express whatever trials and tribulation that era was having. Art can show something as small as how a person is feeling on an individual level, or connect to something as big and great as a community together connected as one. In this video, you will see a mere glimpse of just how important art is. It is more than just a canvas with paint thrown on it. It is history, it is important, and it is a way to better connect with a past that we will never be able to completely grasp.
The last time Tom Seldorf saw these paintings, he was a 6-year-old boy living in Vienna. They belonged to his grandfather, Richard Newman, an industrialist and passionate art collector. When the family fled Nazi-occupied Austria, some of these masterpieces were sold for a fraction of their value, and others were looted.
I only wish my grandfather were here to be able to be part of all this. But I'm sure he's watching from somewhere upstairs.
The paintings, by celebrated artists like Sebastiano Ricci, were destined for an art gallery that Adolf Hitler planned to build in his hometown of Linz. Instead, they found their way to French museums. Some, like this portrait by Pietro Longhi, have been hanging until now in the Louvre in Paris.
It is an emotional moment, because finally a family will be able to recover a part of their broken history.
Mr. Seldorf has spoken to some American museums about displaying the paintings there, but he says, above all, the works are an important link to his grandfather.
His love of art and his art history is what I want to pass along to our children, because it basically is important to the fabric of our society, and in many ways, it's what makes us human. Thank you very much.
2,000 artworks looted during the Second World War remain in French museums, unclaimed. The government has renewed efforts to find their rightful owners, in the hope there will soon be more reunions like this one. Beth McLeod, BBC News.